All right. Well, David, Steve Caliper here, and on behalf of the Special Forces Trust, being an ambassador to the efforts and what you and the team are doing on behalf of those that are serving us. Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to come together as a group just to have an insight story from Mitch Taggart, who we're going to hear from today, who's somewhere in the Middle East. He's in a desert-based country, and we're looking forward to hearing some stories from him from the field and how the trust has served his family, as I've gotten to know Mitch over the last couple of years, and his heart and what motivates him. But if we could just, if you would just share with us, David, a little bit about how are you doing, how's the trust, and where are you today?
Well, I'm at our headquarters in Essex, Connecticut. We have three people up here. Then Jody Burns, our program director, is out in Monterey, and then we have an operations guy, Doug Frank, that's in Fayetteville. And so that's where we are all working remotely to the point that we can, and still trying to provide the services to the Special Forces community during this difficult time. So that's what we're doing on a daily basis.
David, how has the trust served the Special Forces during these last couple of months? And share with those that are listening in. I know we've got a lot of champions and ambassadors of the trust already, but share with those that might not know, how do you currently serve those that are serving us?
Right. So some of our programming has had to be curtailed. Our signature resiliency weekends have had to been curtailed, obviously because of social distancing, food, and that type of things. But we're working hard. Jody's working hard on a virtual, bringing some of these great speakers we have virtually to people. We're hoping to do that in September and October and November. We've been working with the groups on that. We've also done a little bit of stuff at Fort Bragg, a couple of morale things over the 4th of July. Our education program, our spousal grants are still going out, that anybody who's a spouse of a Green Beret can get up to $2,000 a year for continuing education. So we're moving along, and we're looking forward to the events we have in October, November, to then get through this pandemic we have and get back into full gear.
David, thank you. I know you'll go into a little bit more detail as it relates to TGAS, the Burge shoot in Atlanta. For those that are on this call today from Atlanta, we've got the Burge shoot, and then Jersey Clays. And I know that you'll share a little bit about each of those opportunities to sponsor host teams, to champion, and all the resources that are raised are going literally to the front lines to serve those that are serving us as marriages and couples. Let's welcome into this conversation Mitch Taggart. Mitch, we're grateful to see you today. Thank you, sir, for your service. And we just like to have you say hello to everybody that's online with us.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It's not a problem. Anytime that David or anyone from the trust calls and asks for a few minutes, I make sure that I can cut away. There's never something that they need that I wouldn't be willing to do.
Awesome. Well, we know that you're somewhere in the Middle East, and we don't want to disclose where you're at for your own safety, for your team. What's the element of spirit with the team serving during this time of COVID? How are you guys all doing as out on the front line?
Well, sir, I can tell you that there's nothing. I have nothing but admiration and a lot of just joy in watching our soldiers go about their daily business. Our Green Berets are out there in a very, very harsh environment, a little bit difficult by COVID and some of the restrictions. But at the end of the day, we're soldiers, and we go where we're told to go and do what we're told to do. And these guys do it better than anybody. And the restrictions, it's just another hurdle that we have, and we get over it, and we get on with the mission, and they do a tremendous job.
Mitch or David, maybe one of you can answer this, but probably you, Mitch. How many Green Beret are there, and what percentage of them, or how many are deployed somewhere in the world right now? Kind of give us the landscape of the depth and the breadth of the team and how they're doing.
Mitch,
So
you want to
David,
go?
I'll let you do the pitch there, and then I'll kind of cover down there when you're done.
So what we understand is that there are about 6,500 Green Berets. At any one time, 50 to 60% are deployed. I'm assuming that rate is still there because the mission still continues. And they're gone for quite a few times, quite a lengthy time, 6, 7 months. When they come home, they go to deploy. So the stress on the family is difficult. 50%, I'd like to stress the fact that the 50% are roughly married, 50 are single. And I know I just talked about marriages, but we also do a lot of stuff for single soldiers as well, because they're just in need. So that's sort of the landscape that we have, Mitch, but you live it on a daily basis. So hopefully I'm not too far off.
Mitch, what is family life, marriage life for you and the others? Tell us a little bit about how things are with your marriage. Met you and your wife together at TGAS just last year. How are you guys doing, and how does it work with you being deployed?
So, yeah, we're doing great. As you know, my wife is a soldier as well. She's an officer in the United States Army. We've got 3 children. Arguably, I think I got the better end of the deal. Now that we just had one that turned 8 the other day, she has her hands full. So she's managing her career. She's managing the boys and all the issues that are going on back home, and she does it well. I couldn't ask for a better friend. I couldn't ask for a better wife. As far as teammates go, she's amazing, and to watch her get it done it's inspiring. They just need more of her. I don't know how else to say it over.
I know that you can't divulge too much, but what's the nature of the hot spots, the Middle East? Of course, the Middle East is in the news here in the U.S. just about every day. What's the nature of what's going on, and how are the guys that you're serving with?
So, I like to take it another approach to explaining this. Throughout history, there's always been conflict, and when we have conflict, soldiers go. And the good thing about Green Berets is since we were born in the late 50s, some of our credentialing goes back to some very, very forward-thinking individuals. So across the world, wherever there's conflict, wherever there's problems, there's going to be special forces soldiers. Whether it's in the Mideast or Southeast Asia or in South America, the problem is there. And we are, our guys volunteer. They're specially selected and well-trained to handle those problems. We like to look at it. It's a badge of honor for us to really, look at the regiment and know that we're a 911 call. So the Green Berets that we have now are incredibly smart. I don't know how in the world how we could ask for better soldiers that we're getting right now. Some of these young men and women that we see coming in the service today are just absolutely brilliant. It makes me wonder how I got this far.
Mitch, if you would share with us a little bit about your story. How and where did you wanting to become a soldier resonate with you? And you tell us a little bit about how you made this decision in your life journey to get to where you are today.
Yes, sir. So about, I guess it would have been the summer of 1991 when I figured my Major League Baseball career and my modeling career wasn't going to work out. I figured I better do something because it was either boots or books, and I hated books. So I went ahead and joined the Army in 1990 as an infantryman. Spent my first tour in Fort Ord, California, did some time in Alaska, went to Fort Bragg as part of the 82nd Airborne Division, and then I made the volunteer to go to Special Forces and arrived at 10 Special Forces Group in 1997. So that was my first duty assignment. Spent some time in 10 Special Forces Group. Actually had a break in service. Was a firefighter in Georgia for a while, and then when the war started and realized that it wasn't going to be over for a while, I made the decision to re-enter service. I met my wife in 2006. Again, it's been one of the true things in my life that I can say that very seldom does a guy like me get to go, hey man, that was a really good decision. So there's one of them, and then the other one was obviously when I volunteered to transition from being an enlisted soldier to a warrant officer. It's been truly a blessing. So I'm now in my 25th year, and I guess if my wife's listening, we're looking at options in the next few years. It may be coming to an end.
Mitch, we know that you're somewhere in a desert community in the Middle East. If you could share with us, if you would, maybe a handful of some of the places that you have served. We certainly recognize that that call of duty can come upon you quick and you get your orders and you go. Where are some of the places that you've served? Just give us a little insight in some of your story in those 25 years.
I've been to Bosnia, Kosovo, Africa, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, all the hot spots when it comes to, when you think about great vacationing, those are all the good spots. So, there's, I've had a full career when it comes to traveling the world, but, when it comes to deployments, the routine deployments, I say routine, if there's such a word, several times to Afghanistan, several times to Iraq, several times to Syria, which, we've seen over the last, 10, 15 years.
Well, never a dull moment in being in the life of a serviceman. How has the trust, Mitch, served you and your family and your marriage? When you've come in from the field, how's the trust served when it comes to a marriage retreat or anybody that you've been serving with to trust to serve you?
So it's interesting because the first time I was ever introduced to the Charitable Trust, I was actually doing my Special Warfare Center tour at Fort Bragg as an executive officer and operations officer at one of our training schools. And it just so happened that Mr. Ronnie McCann had come to the unit and said, "Hey, I need you guys to help out." And then he just kind of gave us the elevator pitch on the Special Forces Charitable Trust. Now, I will tell you wholeheartedly that much like a lot of guys in my shoes, volunteering or helping out or doing other things outside of my job and just going home and kind of sticking to my own little bubble, that was me. And I really hadn't thought much about, others. And I know that sounds selfish, but that's really kind of the way it was. So it took being introduced to the trust in that time. And then I got to meet some of the most amazing individuals they're a riot. And they're humbling to be around. They're just amazing. And some of these folks have served, some of them have not served. But when they show up and they're just so interested in what we do, because there was just a genuine care. And after getting to know some of them and helping out as much as I could when they came to Fort Bragg, and really, they inspired me to do more. I think I've become a better leader. I think I've been a better husband. I think that, hearing just their stories, and it's amazing that this many great Americans who are willing to volunteer their time, their effort, their money, their sweat, their blood, their tears, just so that they could be there in case. They do a lot of this on terms of just in case something were to happen. They want to be the one that can say, "Hey, we helped out when we were needed." So, it's inspiring. And that's really where I met and became involved with the individuals. And, that's why whenever they call, I don't hesitate if I'm available to try and help out. And I, encourage, and it's not just the trust, it's at no other time in service that I can think of. The military does a tremendous job, and I know our leadership cares. I know the regiment cares, but there's only so much, we can ask of our government to do in a timely manner. It is what it is. And when you have organizations like this that are willing to be there on a moment's notice, it's incredible. And it's something to behold, and it's something to cherish.
David, I know that you've personally had experiences where a wife of a special forces has come to you and said, "Thank you on behalf of the trust, because our marriage is actually doing good and we're still married because of the trust, because of a marriage retreat." Speak into a little bit and share with us, how has the trust served some couples like Mitch and his wife, as well as some others?
Well, I think the retreats are what it is about. When you look at the deployments and the rate of deployments in and out, back and forth, and Mitch was talking about his wife, how she's raising the kids, and Mitch is going to be home for a while. I'm assuming this is happening because it happens everywhere else. There's a routine at home, and now Dad comes home, and maybe the Cheerio box is supposed to be in the left-hand corner. He wants it in the right-hand corner. A little bit of conflict developed. I know that sounds like a funny story, but the wives really got the house running, and the husbands come in 9 months later and they think they can do anything. So just imagine your spouse going male or female away for 9 months, and you're taking all the stuff. And I know unless you've done that. So what we try to do with these retreats is to give them the tools to have that communication back and forth. And yes, several have come up after the retreat saying, we were going to get, we're headed to divorce, and we were in a group that was about colors and how personalities are. And he realized he was one color, and she realized she was another color. Every time he called her, she would say, this is wrong, that's wrong. And he was of the personality that if he couldn't fix it right then and there, it drove him crazy. And she was the type of person that just had to hear his voice every day. And it didn't matter. So they agreed, 4 kids, they agreed to keep together. And as far as I know, they're still going. So that's some of the stuff. But then it gets on a more personal level. When somebody falls, we take care of the service. And Mitch lost a good buddy that we took care of the family of. Very tragic. As we speak, there is a SF guy being buried at Arlington. I could not attend because of the COVID situation, but we're providing reception for the family back at the Sheraton Hotel. Those are the immediate stuff. We've done the spousal grants. We've had 36 spouses graduate, either master's, GED, regular college education. We have about 72 spouses right now in the program. They get $2,000 a year, and the letters back are amazing. So we're trying to impact that as well. So I could go on for a long time. I'm not going to go on. That's what you get me going. I can't stop.
Well, David, we'll come back to you. Mitch, when you're away from home, we were asked a question in the chat. What are some of the things that you miss most about home other than your wife and your kids? What are some things that you miss of the kind of necessities and the likes that you've got that either yourself or the other guys that you're doing life with would like in care packages? What are some of the things that you guys miss?
So I can tell you that it's an evolution, right? When I was younger and deploying, it's really kind of what you held, cherished at that moment in time, right? So the single guys, it's always going to be, something for entertainment or, the different kinds of foods. When you're 20 something, you want cookies and stuff like that in a care package. At 47 or 46 years old, when you get a care package and it's got cookies, you're just thinking, how far am I going to have to run to eat this? Just so I can stay one more day. It really is, it's an evolution. I do miss my wife and kids more than anything. The mornings are usually the toughest. I miss my dogs, but you miss things at random times. Obviously when it's 120 degrees outside, you miss it outside, you miss a cold beer. But sometimes you just miss the ability to sit back and be able to relax and kind of be with yourself and your thoughts. Care packages, really, I think the one guy that was out of it is just knowing that somebody cared. I've seen the trust send everything from Thanksgiving dinners. I know that, Mr. David Coffey, some guys were in Syria. I know him and his crew got together and they packaged up individually, Thanksgiving dinners with canned hams and, turkeys and things like that, and sent all that to Syria for the guys. Those things are incredible. And anything like that is obviously welcome by the guys on the team. It really isn't about the thing so much as it's about the thought. And that really means a lot, to know that somebody on the other end is still thinking about you.
Mitch, share with us, if you don't mind, deep down in your heart and your gut, what is it about serving that gets you just, when you wake up in the morning, you get jacked up and you're like, I'm on duty, I'm on call. Tell us what it is that about this role that you've chosen for your life that just gets you so excited about what you do.
Well, I would like to say it's patriotism, but more so these days it's coffee. And then, I kid, but at the end of the day, I go back and I try and think and I try and relate this to the other soldiers because, like I said, I've seen our regiment evolve over time, and I know our regiment does care, and we spend a lot of time and a lot of effort trying to make sure that we're doing the very best we can for our soldiers. And I go back, and it really is a point where where you really think our young soldiers, we've got the world by the by the horns, right? We're out there, we're patriots, they're doing the things that they want to do, they love to do. But it's in those times of uncertainty, those times of stress, when you really figure out what it is you're doing. So I'll give an example. You know, I joined the Army. I volunteered for airborne school. I volunteered to go to Ranger school. I volunteered, you know, to be a Green Beret. I've done a lot of things that I wanted to do. I did all the things I wanted to do. I got to go to combat. I got to, you know, fight and defend my nation. And then at the end of the day, the few times that we're asked to do things that we really don't want to do, those uncomfortable moments when it's the next deployment and it's time to go, man, that's when you really figure out that, you know, you're not serving yourself anymore. You are serving your country. Because a lot of those things were self-serving. You know, there are things that, you know, I went to airborne school because I wanted to jump out of planes. I went to Ranger school because I wanted a Ranger tab. But then when that next deployment comes and it's 6 months later or it's time to go, that's when you really that's where you figure out who you are as a soldier and as a person. And not just you, it's your wife and your kids and your family. Because now you are serving something beside yourself. And that's really what I want in the morning, is knowing that, hey, I'm not getting out of bed for me anymore. I'm doing it for everyone else. And I can draw strength from that. And it just, you know, there's so many things out there that I still want to see and go do. But I can't get there until I get out of bed and get the boots on.
Yeah, amen. Mitch, thank you. We'll come back to you in just a moment, but thank you for your service on behalf of those that are listening, and me personally. I appreciate knowing you and opening up your heart for us today. David, there's a couple of events coming up, 3 in particular. There's others, but we have T-Gas, Atlanta Burge Plantation, and Jersey Clays. Share with those listening on this call what those events are, why the events take place to support these guys like you're hearing from Mitch today, and what's needed at this point. We need teams, we need shooters. You can tell us a little bit about what the event is. Mute. I got you.
Okay. I'll start with the Great American Shoot, which is our signature event. That's going to be in San Antonio at the National Sporting Shooting Complex, the 30th of October to November 1st. And on November 1st, there'll be a 3-gun competition. And this is where I think we have 19 teams already. We're shooting for 26. Each team agrees to raise $50,000. The first 50% goes to the trust, and the next 50%, which is unusual about this fundraising program, goes to the top 5 shooting teams and the charities that they're supporting. So 30% of the 50% would go to the first place team. So it's about putting the fun in fundraising from that standpoint. The other 2 events you talked about, the Birch Plantation, the Atlanta Shoot is on the 21st, 22nd of October. And the New Jersey Clays is at Hudson Farms, probably one of the most beautiful sporting ranges in the country. That's late November, and I think it's the 20th, and it's the weekend before Thanksgiving. So I don't have that one memorized, but that's basically on the same formula from that standpoint. All of these are on our website, which is specialforcescharitabletrust.org. Go under events and you can see what's going on. It does benefit the SFCT, and especially with the Great American Shoot, it benefits other charities as well. And we have supported about 7 different charities over the last 6 years.
And when you look at support to the trust, it's teams, sponsorships, shooters, all those proceeds and all the dollars raised just literally go to what you described at Arlington, helping support the family in needs, marriage retreats, family retreats. That's where all the dollars go.
Right. So we have 3 basic programs. We have family and community, education, motivation, and veterans and heritage. Probably 70% of the money goes to the family and community. And we call it tragedy assistance, but above that, we do a lot of morale things. 5th group, where Mitch is at, they have an annual, I call it the reunion. They're called organizational weeks. Well, the Saturday of organizational week, they have a big reunion picnic. 3,000 people show up, and we've been able to support that. This year's a little different. Don't know exactly what's going to happen with that from that standpoint. So we do daddy-daughter dances. We've done father-son retreats where they go camping for the weekend. Mitch described his family. He gets home, he wants to spend some time. He does get a little bit of downtime. And so we try to help, and we work closely with the chaplains to make that happen.
Thank you, David. How can we support the trust? Is there a website? Learn more about any of the shoots? It's all there.
Yes, the website would be the best place. Obviously, donations are the fuel that make it happen. And there's a donation page. If you have appreciated stock, call the office. That's one way of doing it. And we take, if you don't want to put a credit card online, you can call the office at 860-767-1510. We'd be glad to help you out with that as well. But without a doubt, we don't do these programs without the fuel, and the fuel is donated dollars. And we have had an impact on the regiment. We've had impact on people we haven't met, and I think it will continue.
David, thank you. Mitch, closing comments from you. Give us a perspective of the morale of the troops. How can we be praying for all of you, and anything that you'd like to share as far as any insights that us folks back home would like to know about what you guys are going through. You're on mute.
That was probably a good thing. I'm pretty sure that my wife wishes I came with a mute button at times, but putting me on the spot there with, I can tell you what I see. I can't speak for everyone. I can speak for myself, but I can tell you that from what I see, we have an extremely motivated and extremely talented regiment of folks. I can't say enough about my own group. I love them. I love 5th Group. And, being where I'm at, I'm fortunate. I've had a lot of luck, and I've had a lot of great times. Being a Green Beret has just been an absolute wonderful time in my life. And, it just keeps getting better and better the longer I stay. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, I know that, my time will come to an end. Special Forces is a mistress, and she will leave me for a younger man. As the old quote or saying goes. I can tell you that while I may end up leaving at some point, the job will still be there, and there's still going to be a talented corps and regiment of young men and women that are willing to step forward and do the job that has to be done. And it has to be done, and it has to be supported. The Army, the regiment, they do a tremendous job. It's gotten better over the years, but having a corps of volunteers out there that, like the ones that I've met in the trust, it's just amazing to see. All the way from California to the East Coast, everyone that I've met that's been a part of this has had something of value to add, and never a dull moment. It's an incredible experience. As far as parting comments, all I can say is that it's wonderful to know such great people. It's wonderful to know that they're there to support their soldiers, mainly the spouses and the kids. It's comforting. So at the end of the day, all I can say to them is thank you. I wish I could do more. And anytime they need me, I'll be there.
I got Mitch is the perfect segue, because I'd like to, maybe some know, maybe some. I never had heard that SF is like a mistress, give it up to a younger woman. But at some point, you say you get going. So I am retiring on October 1st, 120,000 miles a year. It's a lot of wear and tear, and I've enjoyed everything, and the job will continue. And though Jody is on the call, she's not here with us. Jody Burns, a younger woman to your point, has taken over and been appointed as executive director. I've known Jody for about 10 years. She came on board a couple years ago to be our program director. She spiced up and really brought the resiliency weekends, which is our signature, to the forefront. And I look forward to seeing her take this organization to the next step as we go off into the sunset. So Mitch, I'll be there a little bit before you, but if you want to come sailing, let me know.
Well, Mitch and David, thank you both for your service. And you know, at the end of the day, you both can't do what you're doing without friends like us that support you financially and lift you up in prayer. So we're going to continue to do that. David, thanks for running the trust for all these years, and continued blessings as you move forward. Mitch, safety and blessings over you, the troops you're serving with, and we look for a safe and healthy return back to your family in months ahead. So thank you all. We appreciate everybody taking time to be with us today on behalf of the Special Forces Trust. Thank you and have a great day. God bless.
Thank you.